Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. It's Kaylan Alex. If you're new here, welcome. Go ahead and subscribe. And if you're returning, thank you so much for tuning in. So you say you want to buy your first Chanel bag. I have a little guide that should help you when picking that first double CC bag, because it is most certainly a very special and exciting moment. So let's just get into the video. So kind of building off of the knowledge, or I guess the little guideline that I've given you guys in my most recent video about the first luxury purchase, I'm gonna make sure that I highlight those points again really quick, which is to get something that is gonna be classic, timeless, something that is you, and something that fits into your lifestyle. So of course, well, okay, in my opinion, Chanel within itself is just a classic brand. It's definitely one of those fashion houses that's been around. We know what to look for. We know what comes to mind when we think Chanel. You can't really go too wrong with purchasing really various different types of bags from Chanel when it comes to like longevity and versatility and classic styles of bag. Okay, so the very top of the list for me when it comes to purchasing classic timeless bags from Chanel is of course the classic flaps, the double classic flaps. At one point they were single flaps. I think most of those are vintage versions. The hot girl the it girl now when it comes to Chanel is definitely hands down the classic flaps. Classic double flaps. Now the classic flaps come in a variety of different versions and styles. Chanel doesn't really give names to their bags, so you kind of, I'll pop up pictures of the ones that I mean by the double flap. So just really briefly, their classic flaps can be a Coco handle, it can be a trendy CC, it can be a double flap, it can be a mini rectangle, it can be a mini rectangle with a top handle. So those are all considered like classic flaps, but they're also kind of broken down based on whether or not they have a top handle or not. So some of the flaps will have top handle, and those would kind of go more under the top handle category when it comes to Chanel. I know it can be kind of like confusing because they don't really have names, but for right now we're gonna talk about the double flaps, which is the bag that is signature Chanel. It's classic Chanel. We know Chanel for this bag, the Chanel double flap classic bag. She comes in a few different sizes. There's a small, there's a medium, which is like a medium large, there's a jumbo, there is a maxi, and then there is the, you know, the travel size bags. But for the purpose of this video, we're just gonna mention the small, the medium large, and the jumbo, because I feel like those are the most wearable when it comes to everyday. I'll throw in maxi, but the maxi is kind of large in my opinion when it comes to wearing a bag every day. I would suggest more of the medium or jumbo size. The small size is a bit small, but it depends on your preference, body style, height, and stuff like that, whether or not that's going to be a good bag for you, as well as a maxi. So those bags I feel like are more day-to-day, day-to-night, everyday kind of bags. Those are the ones that I would suggest when it comes to purchasing a double flap from Chanel. So these bags come in the variety of colors. You can see them in a variety of prints. So for a first one, I'm obviously going to suggest the classic black color. You cannot go wrong with it. It is literally a bag that can go with any and everything to me. I feel like it's not one of those bags that you just have to pull out on Sundays or, you know, special occasions, special events. It's most certainly a bag that can be worn very casually or, of course, dressed up. So this bag comes in a lambskin and a caviar for the purposes and scope of this video. Of course, it comes in different textures and colors and prints and things of that sort, fabrics and stuff. But for the purpose of this video, I'm gonna stick to the leathers, caviar, and the lambskin. Those are going to be the most timeless, the most simple, versatile bags. Okay, so now the color in which you get it is it's gonna depend on more of what you have in your collection or your wardrobe, of course. I feel like the black is a color that you can't go wrong with. I mean, it's a classic black bag. However, if you find that you have more of lighter neutral colors in your collection, maybe a cream or the beige caramel type color, more of the beige versus the caramel. I feel like the caramel is definitely one that it kind of has to fit into your wardrobe. It can get a little tricky, but certainly the beige and the black, those are classic Chanel's. Now, they do come in different hardwares. There's a gold hardware, there's a silver hardware. Now, or most recently rather, the gold has become more of a what they consider a flash gold, which is a gold that is not super gold, I guess you can say. Like, it's not as gold as, say, these earrings are. It's more of a gold that when you see it in the light, it kind of flashes and it can look silver-ish. It's a more toned down gold, so which I personally don't mind. I like them both ways, but that's just how they are these days. So with that, you can also choose to purchase two different styles or time periods. You can get a vintage one or more of the newer version. I love both. I feel like Chanel, and I've mentioned this in a couple videos, vintage Chanel is still top tier. I feel as though vintage Chanel definitely gets the love that she deserves, and I feel like the quality and craftsmanship of the vintage bags says a lot about the brand and the fashion house, because they're still selling as though they just came out. Like, vintage Chanel is definitely a category of its own when it comes to Chanel, if that makes sense. They are really items, because I'm not just gonna like exclude it to handbags, because even other items that are vintage, they're still sought after, they're still in demand. If you know what I mean. Like, they're still that thing. Vintage Chanel is a mood and a whole moment by itself, and it's still highly popular, highly sought after. And I definitely recommend you purchasing a classic flap on the pre-loved market, getting a vintage one. Basically, as I've mentioned before, my very first Chanel was a vintage double flap black gold hardware. It was the medium size. I absolutely loved it. It was lambskin, and it was the best bag ever. It was in very good condition. I had all of the accessories to it. It was literally my favorite bag. Of course, I'm a Chanel girl, but I love that bag. I would definitely recommend getting a pre-loved Chanel or a vintage version of the double flap classic bags. Now, if you want to go in the store and have that experience, that is also an option, of course. It is a little bit more pricier these days, but hey, if that's what you want to do, I'm going to recommend it. I'm going to suggest it, because I also feel like the experience that you get going into a store and purchasing something brand new is another type of experience that I feel like everyone at some point should be able to have a moment like that. Now, if it's something that you truly just do not care about, and you don't care about having a moment of getting something from the store, that is perfectly fine. Go the pre-loved route. I shop pre-loved all the time. I feel as though the classic double flaps are forever bags. No matter what color you get it in, no matter what size that you get it in, I feel as though those are bags that will literally last forever and ever and ever. They will never not be a thing. They're true to Chanel, and as we've seen over the years, it's still maintained its prestige. So you can't go wrong with getting a double flap as your first Chanel bag. You can't go wrong with it. Like, it's foolproof, if you will. Now, maybe the double flap classic flaps is not really your vibe, not your style. I'm gonna go ahead and recommend maybe a top handle bag. Now, this category happens to house one of my favorite bags, one of the bags that I have mentioned and talked about a lot on this channel, and that is my Coco handle. I absolutely love my Coco handle. If I cannot say that anymore, I love it. So The top handle bags are going to consist of a few bags, but for the purposes of this video, we're only going to talk about 4, I think 3 or 4. That's going to be the Coco handle, the Trendy CC, the mini rectangle, and the business affinity. Now these 4 bags are bags that I would recommend as a first Chanel purchase if you are not really feeling the classic flaps, or maybe you're trying to, like, you know, decide, or at some point you want all of it, however it may be. These are bags that I would recommend as a first Chanel purchase. Now I've mentioned this also before. I have compared, and I know these two get compared a lot, the Coco handle and the Trendy CC. My overall difference or differentiator here is that the Coco handle is caviar. It has a little bit more of a slant shape to it. The handle is hard at the top, and it has feet at the bottom. And then the areas that are separated in the bag is separated inside of the bag, so the bag looks like one shape, and the divisions are inside of the bag. Okay. The Trendy CC is going to be a lambskin bag. The top handle is flat. It's also lambskin. The different sections in the bag are divided up within the bag, so you can kind of see the separations from the side and the bottom of the bag, and the bag does not have feet. Another kind of thing that I noticed with the Trendy CC is over time, as it's being sat on, it will crease a bit at the bottom, but that's really just like a minor inconvenience. I feel as though this bag is definitely, or these 2 bags are one that you choose which one you just prefer, lambskin or caviar, and then 2, which one I want first. They're similar but very different. I love the shape and style of this particular bag, so at some point I want both of them. I want a Trendy CC since I already have a Coco handle. They both come in different colors, mostly around the same type of colors. The Coco handle is definitely one that's been popping up in more colors and more of a variety as of lately, because that's been the it top handle kind of bag when it comes to these 2. I want to say the Trendy CC also has a version with detachable straps, but then there's a version without detachable straps, whereas the Coco handle has detachable straps. Okay, now also with these 2 bags, they come in different sizes. So the Coco handle comes in a mini, I believe, or like a small size, a medium, I think it's like a medium size. It's kind of small, but it's like a medium, and then there's what they consider a large version. It might come in one more. I'll have it popped up on the screen if it does. And then the Trendy CC comes in a small and a large. The most popular size for the Trendy CC is definitely going to be the small. The large is kind of large, but again, this is based on preference when it comes to the sizing and which one you like and prefer the most. As far as color, I am definitely going to suggest a black because it's easy to wear. It goes with everything. It is a classic. You cannot go wrong with a black handbag. That's across the board, right? Obviously, whether or not you actually get a black bag is going to depend more on your preference and whether or not you have a wardrobe that can accommodate another color. But for the most part, you can't really go wrong with a black handbag. So I definitely recommend both of these bags. Now, the mini rectangle with the top handle is more of a newer style that we're seeing become popular with the top handle bags. They are basically the traditional mini rectangle bag. It just has a top handle and it's just a slightly different size on it compared to the original one. So this one I feel like is definitely a classic because the mini rectangle is a classic, and we'll kind of like chat about that in a second. But the top handle definitely gives you a different look and more of a full bag, in my opinion. I feel as though the top handle makes the bag look more like a everyday bag versus just a crossbody bag that you may choose to wear to dinner or something like that. I don't know if that kind of like makes sense, but at any rate, I definitely would recommend a mini rectangle with the top handle as a first Chanel purchase, especially because it has the long strap too, so that you can wear it as a shoulder bag or crossbody. You can wear a top handle. It's a nice size, so you can't really go wrong with it. I love the colors that this bag also comes in, but of course for your first, I'm going to suggest something that's neutral that can easily go with anything. So you want to stick to the blacks, the beige-ish color, or maybe a cream if you're careful enough. And actually no cream. We're not doing cream because denim transfer is a thing. Color transfer in general is a thing, and you don't want those type of concerns for your first Chanel bag or your first purchase. So let's shy away from the creams. Next bag is the Business Affinity. Now this is another top handle bag that I feel like is a good alternative or another style for the Coco handle and the Trendy CC. These bags are obviously very different, but they're still within that same family, so they can be like cousins, okay? So if you're not feeling the Coco handle or the Trendy CC, you have the Business Affinity option. This is another bag that I have seen in various different colors. I've seen a lot of the navy and the black, as well as like a maroon kind of color, but I would again stick to the basics with the blacks and the navies when it comes to this bag. It is also a bag that is versatile, that you can wear top handle, crossbody, or as a shoulder bag. It is a shoulder bag style, so you kind of have that option. So these are kind of four that I would stick to when it comes to the first purchase of your first Chanel bag. If you're not feeling like, you know, anything else that I've mentioned, these are good options. I feel like you also get that versatility of day-to-day, day-to-night bags with top handles, because obviously you can take the handles off and some of them, and it can be more of a businessy evening bag, but you can also wear it during the day with the shoulder strap and wear it kind of crossbody, depending on how you prefer your crossbodies to fit. You still have that option in a way, depending on your preference. Now the next bag is one that I would consider in between a top handle and a classic flap, and that is a Chanel 19 bag. This is another bag that is more recently, you know, popped up on the scene. It's definitely made its way to classic status as it pertains to Chanel. This is a bag though that is going to be very subjective and relative to the person. It is one that I feel like you have to actually like, and it will work in your collection because of the look of it. I feel like it can look a little casual sometimes because of the way that the leather is. Now this one comes in a lambskin or goat skin. I like this bag though because the smaller version, you can wear it crossbody, although it is meant to be a shoulder bag for sure. The medium or large size of this is definitely meant to be worn as a shoulder bag because the strap is not long at all. Of course, depending on how you prefer to wear your crossbody bags, you can wear it crossbody, but it's definitely not meant to be worn crossbody. I love this bag. Of course, the black and the beige or the caramel color is the color that I recommend as a first one when it comes to this bag. Of course, if you have more color in your collection, you feel like you can get more wear out of a bag that has a little bit more color to it, I would suggest it. This particular bag is definitely becoming a classic, and I want to say that it's even being considered a classic by Chanel. So you can't really go wrong with the colors here either. The last category that I have on my list are wallet on the chains. Now these bags are definitely for a certain type of person. They're very small, so it's definitely going to have to be a bag that you don't need to carry much. They're definitely meant to be worn crossbody, or can be worn crossbody rather. They have a rather long strap, so wearing it as a shoulder bag to me looks a little bit more evening because of the length and the size of the bag. They do not house a whole lot, so unless you're a person who doesn't carry a lot day to day, this is going to be a bag that I would recommend more so for special events or special occasions or night out dinner vibes. in my opinion. Of course, you can wear a wallet on a chain day to day. It can definitely be casual depending on the leather that you get, the color that you get, the style that you get. But generally speaking, the wallet on a chain is something that you definitely have to carry when you don't need to carry a whole lot. My favorite ones, of course, are the classic ones with just the flap, and then well, mostly all of them are flat bags, but they have a different style verse on them. So there's one that looks like a trendy CC style with the metal plate on the top. There's a Chanel 19 version of it with the mini top handle and then the longer strap, and there's the classic ones that are just like flat style. And I believe there's still the boy versions for the boy bag. So that's kind of like just going to depend on which one you prefer and the style or look that you're going for. My favorite of the wallet on chains is definitely the 19 version and the trendy version. I just like the way they look. I feel like they look more like a purse or a handbag versus a crossbody evening style bag, but that's just my opinion. Of course, I'm going to suggest them in a classic color or even like a patent for this bag as the first one, because I feel like that can be a little bit more versatile. But all in all, when it comes to the wallet on chain, it's definitely going to depend on whether or not you care to carry a lot of stuff. If you're trying to wear it day to day, it's definitely a bag that doesn't house a whole lot, but it's a good option as a first Chanel bag because of the long strap and the way that you can wear it, you know, differently. So guys, that is gonna be my little breakdown or a guide to purchasing your first Chanel bag. Of course, there are different styles, there are different, you know, colorways, and we get different design bags when it comes to Chanel. So I can go on and on about the different ones and what I would suggest them for. But for the purposes of this video, I wanted to try to keep it like small and narrow it down, because I know I get a lot of questions from you guys asking about certain bags and comparing certain ones for your first purchase. So I kind of wanted to group all of the ones that I get asked about the most into a little video and comparison for you guys and try to help you choose your first Chanel bag. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, drop a nice comment down below, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I post again, and I will see you in the next video.